Lead the Way, a podcast for school leaders with author, speaker, and educator, Dr. Bill Ziegler.
It's so good to have Sanée Bell, principal of Morton Ranch Junior High School in Katy, Texas, with us today on Lead the Way. Sanée, it's great to have you on the program today.
Good to be here, Bill. Thanks.
Sanée, you've talked to me about how can we start fresh in the middle of the year and give kids and teachers a new start. Tell us about what you're doing with your school to do that.
Well, Bill, the one thing that I love about being an educator is that you actually get 2 new fresh starts every year. In August, when school starts, or September, if you're out east, and then again in January when you come back from the winter break. And so what I like to do with my staff is we do an analysis of what's working well based on our first semester. We look at a variety of things, systems, our structures. We look at achievement. We look at different survey data from our students, and we analyze what's working. We also figure out ways to improve. If something's not working, we stop doing it. It doesn't make sense to continue to do it just because we had it in place. If it's not giving us the results, then we stop doing it. But then we also get recalibrated. So it helps us to identify what we need to focus on in the spring so that we can finish the school year strong.
I love that word recalibrated and how you talk about working to finish the school year strong. I also like how you talk about like a mid-year goal review. And how have you found that to be with your teachers? Is that successful? Is it working well? And, maybe what are some of the things that you do to make that successful?
I always start from a strengths-based approach. Like, what did we do really well? The one thing that I find when I'm talking to teachers, whether it's goal review individually or as a department or as a grade level team, is that they immediately go to what wasn't working. And I was visiting with my instructional coaches one day and I said, guys, let's look at this data. And I want you to identify what worked really well. And they identified those things. And then I asked them, what was it that was done when these different topics were taught? How were they taught? Why do you think they were successful? The students were successful with these. And so we began to identify why students were successful and what was done around that. I said, so then if we know that this is how students learn best, then let's do more of that. So there's no need to dwell upon, I don't know, they didn't do well here because of this, because then you get into making excuses. And when you focus on the strengths, and it's like, well, we need to do more of that if that's what worked. And so by doing that, it builds the efficacy of the team because they have experienced some success in different areas. And so now it's like, yeah, we want more of that and we can do this. And so it helps us to easily identify challenges or obstacles and then come up with solutions for those.
That piece on finding the strength finder and having that be like the central focus, I just think that's so key because you're right. I think naturally we fall back to looking at, what's wrong or what do we need to improve, but really jumping in and being intentional about focusing on the strength is something that we need to do as school leaders. What advice would you give to a school leader that's thinking, hey, I want a fresh start in the middle of the year?
So the one thing that I would say is focus on what's strong and not what's wrong. And so when you focus on what's strong, you can actually celebrate some of your successes. And it gives you that momentum to sit and say, okay, well, this is going really well. Now, where could we improve? And then when you have spent time focusing on things that are going well, finding ways to improve is actually more enjoyable because it's like, man, we're getting somewhere. I would open your mind to sometimes, you got to keep an idea or you got to ditch an idea. We did that today as a team. There was something that we really I wanted something to happen, and we spent time talking about it, planning about it. And you know what? We said, this is not the right time. So instead of adding more, sometimes keep it simple. Keep it, ditch it, or save it for later.
I like that. Keep it or ditch it. But I love the focus on what's strong, not what's wrong. So important as leaders to do that in education. So, Sanée, this has been a gold nugget. You've been phenomenal. Just a really great podcast on reminding us of the important things in life. So thanks so much for being on Lead the Way today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
We want to encourage you to visit our website and sign up for our free newsletter that we send out for great information, just like today's interview with Sanée.
You've been listening to Dr. Bill Ziegler with Lead the Way. Bill has great resources for school leaders at chaselearning.org. That's chaselearning.org. Thanks for listening to Lead the Way with Dr. Bill Ziegler.